What's up, everybody? We're back here with the War Podcast. I'm excited about tonight. Tonight we got Rob back on. Rob was on last year. Rob Eastman, good friend of mine.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, man.
Thank you.
Excited to have you on. Rob was on, let's see, over a year ago, kind of right when we started the podcast, and he's got a lot of good stuff to say.
Yeah, Frank probably might know which episode, actually. Probably episode 18, I'm guessing.
Somewhere around there.
Stand and Fight.
Yeah,
Episode Stand and Fight, episode number 20 from season 1.
Yeah,
if you want to check
20.
it out from last year. It's good stuff.
Yeah, Stand and Fight. So, yeah, we're happy to have you back on, man. I know you've been – well, you just had a big newspaper article come on on about you.
Yeah.
Talk about that. I mean, you've been in the news and stuff before. I mean, you've been I mean, I'm not trying, but you've been in the light a little bit of what your work and what you've been doing out, in Utah, and so talk about it.
So these ones were, I got a speaking gig for the state of Utah's Teachers Association. So I went and spoke. I was the keynote for about 400 or 500 teachers, and
Wow.
it was, as an addict, and it's easy to share to other addicts about your life, but then you go in with a bunch of educated people, and we walked in, and my wife was there, and my daughter was there, and it was the big room at the Davis Conference Center, and they've got 2 40-foot big screen projectors, and then this little teeny stand up there, and I'm just like, oh man, here we go again. But
The room felt stuffy as hell like that.
Changes the dynamic for sure. It's not just like with a bunch of addicts. It's, professionals. And
so then the superintendent walks in the back, and all these guys that I'm trying to build relationships with, and they're in the back, and I'm about to go full Monty on my life, and it ended up being insane. People were pulling my wife aside, pulling me aside. I've got calls from all over the state to come in and do assemblies and share what I say is what everybody else kind of wants to say, but there's so much red tape inside of the districts and schools, and parents want to keep their kids innocent, whatever the heck that means. And my message is all about preparation, not protection. So, and then the other part was my coaching that I do with the junior high and high school wrestling team.
Yeah, I saw all your stuff on that, like 10-0, right?
Yeah,
you guys did really well.
Season.
That's really cool.
And we ended up taking second place at district, which is out of 16 teams, and our school hasn't really been much of a wrestling place, and I've been working really hard over the last 4 years and build a notable program up, and we're getting a lot of traction with other coaches and families, and it bleeds into kind of, I was going to say we should definitely talk about athletics and what that does for youth, teaching them how to do hard things in a safe environment, how to be part of a team, respect, honor, discipline, hard work. I think that's
so many life lessons that are packed into that.
Yeah,
it's really cool. One of the cool things that Hawk said recently about the war preventative program, which is a similar thing, working with middle schoolers, high schoolers, is like, if you could teach a kid to use a barbell, you might just keep them out of the bar when they're older,
Yeah.
And so that's not going to work for everyone, Obviously, kids are going to do what they do as they grow up, but, at least they have a foundation and steer some of them in the right direction.
Well, yeah, like anything, like I've said this before, and I think but like these kids nowadays, I mean, compared to when we were kids, like, I don't know about you guys, but I noticed they got way more to get addicted to. Yeah. Earlier.
Oh, just electronics even.
Well, the electronics. Right. I mean, I'm seeing kids walk around with rock stars that are 12. They're going hard on the energy drinks at a young age. I mean, that links up. I saw some kids skateboarding the other day, and they're all linked up to big monsters. They couldn't have been more than 12 6th graders, 7th graders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's linking up addictive thinking early. And then they got the phones, and then they got the video games, and it's just like, man.
Yeah.
I was at the skate park, local skate park in Sun Valley a couple years ago, just having fun, and there were some 8-year-old kids that came up to me. They were like, "Hey, do you know where to buy weed?" And I was like, "What?
8 years
how
old?
old are you, man? Like, are you serious? Like, that's not something that I got into until I was probably 14 or something." And it's weird how it changes. It seems like kids are getting into stuff younger and younger.
Yeah, I mean, they can watch anything on YouTube. I mean, so explain your concept of let's see, not protection, but
Prevention.
or
Preparing. Preparation, man. Well,
Preparation over protection. Yeah.
It's like we always in the schools they give a sex education, but they can't say penis, they can't say vagina, they don't show a penis, they don't tell them how to put on a
So
condom.
it really is that bad now.
Yeah. So it's like,
That's
okay,
crazy.
kids, I'm going to teach you to just not have sex. Okay, but what if I do? Well, just don't.
Yeah.
It's a bad
That doesn't do
philosophy.
anything.
Right.
Yeah.
I've shown
I,
my
as a kid,
kids-
would have been like, "Oh, I'm going to." If they're saying
right?
don't, give it to me.
That's part of my story.
Yeah.
I went to Israel with BYU, and I went to school there. And part of my story is I was doing really well because I got sent there. I was court ordered, and that was part of my punishment, was to do good in school and be around good people.
Right.
They were all there for different reasons, but I got sent with a group to Egypt, and the only two rules they said don't go out after dark and don't try and climb the pyramids. And the second that came out of their mouth, I envisioned myself on the top of the pyramid.
Exactly.
I'm like, how can I get that done?
Exactly.
You know, and now it's like, for my kids, if they hear heroin, they know exactly what it looks like because I showed them.
Right.
Are they any less innocent? Do they not play with dolls now?
Of course not.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Right.
Have they seen? We talk about sex. We talk about all that stuff. They're little. We've shown them drugs. We've shown them crack pipes. We've shown them needles. We've shown them all that stuff. They understand it.
Yeah.
So for me, the big thing is they're going to do it or not, but they're not going to be able to say we didn't know.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Absolutely.
Give them the directions. Look, this is what it looks like. This is how it's done. These are the consequences of those actions.
Exactly.
Not, if I get drunk the first day, can I call you guys? Just don't drink.
Right.
Don't make that decision. Okay.
Right.
Well, what if I do?
Right.
Can I call you? So all these kids are driving home drunk because
Right.
they don't dare call mom or dad because they're going to get in trouble and they're going to get shamed at church or, whatever it is.
Yeah. They don't have
like
Uber accounts yet.
At what point, at how many suicides, at how many recovery centers are we going to take a good look at when we quit letting the village raise the kid and notice that everything's jacked up?
You're right.
Like innocence. What does that even mean?
You're
Like,
right.
For like porn, we were talking about that earlier. We used to have to go steal Uncle Johnny's paperback.
Yeah,
Right?
for
Playboy,
sure.
that was it. Now it's anywhere.
Yeah.
Instagram.
It's on.
anytime.
Yeah. It's on anything.
So,
What you say is you bring up a good point because, when you said porn, but hold on, what did you say right before that? Gosh, I just lost my thought. But it was
Kids like not being able to call their parents,
yeah, kids not being able to call their parents, feeling ashamed,
letting the village.
raise the kid. Hold on, let me catch my thought. I have it right on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
It's basically on the concept of just the fact that they don't. I mean, you can get things on anything. You can see them on. Oh yeah, I know where I was going with it. Sorry. With Utah, Utah even try to do that iron curtain or wherever where you couldn't even pour a drink in front of someone. They had to. All the restaurants, they had to create a bar to where you had to hide it behind. If it was a liquor, you had to hide it behind when you poured it.
Yeah.
And so I just think that leads to. I remember actually hearing Governor Huntsman back when he was governor talk about it because he was against that whole thing, and he was saying something similar, which was, why this stuff's out there.
Yeah.
And so
all it does is create this like mystery and this allure.
Yeah.
And
It's like you were saying when you were like, thinking about yourself on top of the pyramid. I was the same way. I always wanted to do, you're like, oh, you're not allowed to do it? Well, I'm going to go try it. I remember like I had a dare class when I was in 5th grade. And
that's what I was thinking.
The cop like brought in like pictures of stuff that he had confiscated, from this drug dealer, this local like huge meth dealer. He's like, this is like an Escalade we confiscated in a boat. And I was just in the back like, I want to be a drug dealer. Like, that's awesome.
Cool car.
I remember I asked, I was like, do you get to keep that stuff? Like, is that yours now? And he's like, oh no, it's like the department. And then it, you put it on auction, all this stuff. And I was like, oh, that's lame. So I got to be a drug dealer to get that stuff, It's obviously their whole thing is like teaching you not to do it, but I was always the kid that was, if it was, behind red tape, I wanted to go see what that was like.
Yeah.
With schools, no more wood shop, no more metal shop, no more auto shop.
They did get rid of all that too. Huh?
Yeah, we don't have any of it in our county. And it's like, do you throw a kid out on a soccer field or a basketball court or a baseball diamond and don't tell them the rules and just be like, hey, figure it out?
Of course not.
You explain it. And when they're impressionable and they have an opportunity to learn something and see good or bad in a safe environment, we're not taking that opportunity to teach them.
Right.
which is just absolutely absurd to me.
Right.
Like, no, we don't want you to do this, but this is what it looks like. This is like, play it out.
Right.
And that's
Well, they're in the game of life. You know,
Yeah.
use the analogy of baseball. They're in the game of life right now, and literally, I see 2-year-olds that know how to use tablets. 2-year-olds that know how to use tablets,
Right.
and they're clicking on YouTube. One link can go to the next, can go to the next. Next thing you know, they could be watching any type of music video that's talking about any type of drug, marijuana, alcohol, lean, you know, whatever it might be. And they're going to get curious. So why not hear about it from mom and dad?
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more with you.
Yeah. So that's a big part of these kids, when I'm speaking at the high school and stuff, I go full
Just full
honesty, and they're just like, you know, and I build up to be, you know, I was being bullied. I started developing suicidal thoughts. I stuffed that. I started being depressed. And then in high school, I smoked weed for the first time, and all that pain went away.
Yep.
And then I could smoke it once a week, and it would be good. But then I had to smoke it twice a week. Then I had to smoke it 3 times a week. Then I had to smoke it 5 times a week. Then I had to steal from my mom to buy more weed because I was smoking daily multiple times. And the next thing I know, the pain was still there, and nobody ever told them that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that when weed wasn't enough, then I had to add pills. Then I had to add alcohol. Then I had to add crystal meth, heroin, crack, porn, whatever it is. And the pain's still there.
Right.
But nobody's telling them that.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just saying it's bad for you. You could become addicted. Okay, what does that even mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry you're suffering. Let's walk you through this.
Right.
And every single, I fill out a paper that asks them 3 questions. What are you struggling with most in life right now? What skills are you using or not using? And then which part of my presentation most affected you today? Like, now we know what's going to happen if we go down that road. Like, almost everyone says something like that. It's like, how can there be that
Thank
many
God.
kids clueless? And that's, at the end, I always end with, at least none of you will be able to look anybody in the eye and say you don't know.
Right. So let me ask you this: you met with much resistance
No. Well,
from, I'm guessing, some families, maybe?
not anymore. So in Davis County, I mean, pretty much anywhere in Utah, but looking like I do, I'll be standing in the office and there'll be a mother like, why do we have guys like this around our children?
Oh, he's our
They're
keynote.
like, yeah, they're like, he's the one saving your kid.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
he's the one that the counselors call.
Yeah.
You know, so, but now that's what I wanted to do. I pretty much burned Davis County to the ground, and I could have run from that, but I wanted to stay there and rebuild and really put some backing to my name again.
Right.
You know, my dad was a state senator, school board
Right.
president, honest, amazing man, and everything he set, I burned. And then he passed away when I was 9 months sober. So it's
Right.
like, wow, how can I repay my father? How can I make my children proud? How can I make anybody want to date me, marry me? And the best way that I could do that was practice what I preach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
We've
there's a
talked
lo-
about that
Do
before.
what you're doing.
Like, what is the mistake, you know, if there's not a lesson from it, and then you're taking that lesson and then, you know,
Yeah, I get
teaching
shit.
others, doing service work, you know, providing your experience and strength, you know, through what you've been through, and starting an honest conversation. It's so needed.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, it's like I walk into AA, I go, I don't know, I've been going a little bit more, but maybe 5 to 10 times a year, and I walk in, where have you been? Did you fall off? I'm like, dude, I live this shit every single day. I'm in
Yeah.
the schools, I'm in the churches, I'm in the gym, I'm like,
Yeah.
You're in it just because you're not doing the
because you
rooms.
go and sit and talk in AA for a minute, and then you go outside and have a cigarette and hop on the bus. It's like, that's not recovery to me.
Right.
AA gave me life, and now I take what I learned there and I go and share it with people
Yeah, live
on a
your
daily
12 step.
basis.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, we've kind of talked about this before on here, but like, you know, just getting your PhD in meth and heroin, you know, it's what you've got in your PhD. You've walked through, you know, you talked about bullying, depression, anxiety. You know, the other day when we went on that hike, you were talking about, you said some good stuff that really resonated with me, but just sitting in it, you know. And people in early recovery, it's like, man, they need, like, it's so hard, right? Because they're in the shadows.
yeah.
You know, they're in the shadows right off the bat, and then And a lot of them can't stand to stay in those, because you got to stay in those shadows. And I mean, the thing that where I'm at is, in those shadows, you can start building a lifestyle of health, you know, and use that health to help you compete in those shadows. But then there's that endurance game, and then the next thing you know, you take a little step, dude, and you're in the sun, and you're like, shit, you know, my life's going pretty good, you know. but man, I mean, Frank, you can talk about it, and Don, I mean, all of us can talk about it. But early recovery, man, like, it's shadowy.
It's hard.
And life in general, the tale of life, wouldn't you agree, is more rainy days than sunny? Like, in just a regular person's life, you have hard days, you know what I mean? But
absolutely.
Like, you know, for me, and I'm learning the further I go along that the more adversity I compete with, and I stay clear without popping something or trying to escape it, the more I grow, you know.
It's like Rob was saying, though, you know, you felt uncomfortable, bullied, or like an outcast, and then, you know, anxiety, maybe depression, you tried smoking weed and that all went away, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, as addicts, like, we get hooked on that escape, and then it stops working, you know, or it makes our life even worse than it was before. So when we finally run it into the ground enough to want to get sober, we have to, all that stuff comes flooding back. We haven't learned how to cope with it.
Yeah.
We haven't grown emotionally. We haven't matured at all. And so, as you said, in the beginning of early recovery, it can be like super shadowy. It's all these emotions come flooding back, and you have to learn how to deal with that stuff and how to cope with it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think everybody likes that. The early recovery is the learning patience. It's like,
Yeah.
I got 90 days. That's amazing. But even one,
Yeah.
like I knew less at 5 years than I did at 30 days.
Yeah.
Like, God was like, okay, you think you
Yeah.
got it? Here you go.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's what I love about the gym and your philosophies too, is going in and doing something hard and not quitting until the job is done.
Right.
Like, there's going to be hard days, and a lot of them are pretty gray in early recovery.
Right.
And I think you just get a little more equipped to handling that type of stuff. And it, like, my bad days are really not that bad anymore
Yeah.
because I'm prepared for them. I've trained my
Yeah.
mind. I kind of feel like a life ninja between MMA and the fights I've been in, and all the different challenges that I do, and working out, and all these hobbies that challenge every ounce of my being. And pretty much I started those hobbies to challenge a fear of mine.
Yeah,
and now
right.
they've become a love of mine.
Yeah, passion.
It's like
Yeah.
the fear thing is such a, I think if you spend your first year facing every fear you have with a guru to walk you
man.
through it, game over. Your life will change forever.
It's so important.
Big time.
Yeah.
Because fear, like, runs through all of our lives, and a lot of us don't even notice it, or notice, like, the extent to which it does, you know? So many of our decisions or actions are kind of driven by it, and you kind of have to dig deep and, you know, find out what that's about and fight through it. But, you know, I like what you were saying with that, like, you know, about the rainy days, and sometimes it happens to you, and it's not even necessarily the day itself. It's like how you react to it and how you walk through it, which is what's important, you know, the perspective. We were talking about that today in the gym, Hawk.
Yeah.
You know, that there were some people that, you know, didn't want to come because they're, oh, I'm having a hard day, you know, so I can't come to the
That's
gym
why
right
you
now.
need it.
I'm not
Yeah,
I'm not in a good, you know, state of mind right now. I'm going to skip the gym today. We're like, dude, that's what it's for, you know. It's easy to come if you're feeling good, but you know, learning how to fight those demons and use it as a tool is important,
Yeah,
man.
walking in there, even though, I mean, half the days I roll in there, I do not want to do it. You know what I'm saying? But it's that reward afterwards when you're sitting there and you just walked and you competed through it, and then you're working on gratitude and prayer throughout the whole thing, and then by the end of it, I got a different mindset. I mean, I talk about this a lot, but like, dude, this happened to me the other day. I roll in there. There's a group of people in there. My wife was training a bunch of women, and, you know, had a group going, and I was, you know, so negative. I didn't say one word. I do this quite a bit.
Just getting your
I
head.
walk in and I'm so negative because I'm worried. I've just got the day ahead of me. It's the morning. And I don't even say hi to my wife. Nobody. I roll in there. I got my iPod and I just start hitting it and just moving and moving and moving. And anyway, so about 30, 40 minutes roll by and I'm done. And afterwards, I'm the chattiest dude ever, talking to everybody in the gym.
Yeah.
And I thought, dude, that's a high. You know, like, how do we teach people that? How do you teach people that you can walk into the gym a lot of it's because it hurt to go into the gym. You know what I'm saying? It's like if it wasn't such a hard little experience, I was so chatty, and my wife's like, "What is you got? You're bipolar." I'm like, I might be,
Right.
you know, but you know what I'm saying? It's
Absolutely.
it's interesting how
It's more rewarding because you get that high and that reward, but you put in work to get it. It's not just the easy fix of popping a pill, you know?
yeah.
That's just not lasting, and it's going to lose its value sooner or later, as we've all found out.
Yeah.
But actually doing something that you put in time and effort to get, you know, grinding, that feels so much better. It's lasting. And, you know, I love talking about this because it's so true.
So bringing in
So true,
not
man.
religious, but the spiritual aspect is that's what the adversary or negative energy wants you to do. It wants you to stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wants
That's
you to
what
quit.
keeps you stuck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Period.
Yeah.
And you can look at it however you want, if you believe in the Creator, God, whatever.
Yeah, look at me,
There's
just
an
7 deadly
opposite.
sins, sloth, right? I mean,
Yeah.
just laziness.
Absolutely.
I mean, it goes back
Right.
back so far. Just literally one of the deadly sins is sloth, right?
Yeah.
Just laziness.
And
I
I
just, I like that thing that they tell you in treatment centers or whatever, the story of, you know, like the good wolf and the bad wolf, the light and the dark one, you know, which one wins? It's like the one that you feed more. So like they're always going to be there in your mind, you know? There's always going to be like the dark wolf that's, you know, trying to get you to, oh, just stay home, you know, you can't do it, or not feeling good, you know? But you have to compete. And the more you
it's
do that,
interesting.
10
you know,
push-ups.
I never thought about
better
that
it
because,
gets.
you're feeding it. Because if you're not doing anything, you're actually doing something. You're
right.
feeding it.
So if I decide to just stay home and stay on the couch, that's actually like reinforcing that in my mind, you know?
That's a good point.
It makes it stronger. But the more I compete against it, the more I go into the gym,
Right.
you know, the more I can do that experience, like the more reinforced that becomes, the better it gets.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I mean, gosh, what was it? Yesterday I was feeling so sick. I was sick the night before from the flu. And then, you know, yesterday, the last thing I wanted to do was go in the gym. Yesterday
I was
morning.
actually really proud
That
of
was
you.
the last one. Because I was like, I've said, Dustin, I think I'll do one set of something. And then ended up, you know, doing almost the entire workout, you know.
You did good.
So, but I'm saying it changed my day completely. I mean,
does.
you know, and I don't know if I'd always recommend someone go in there sick, but I wasn't sick after that, so that says something.
Bro, I used to get people on the rower.
That's painful, man.
I used to get people on the rower when they'd be 2 days off heroin.
Oh, I remember I remember seeing you first getting Frank on the rower and
Just
Frank
get
puking
him on the rower.
from running.
I detoxed so many people in that gym early when I first started. Like, you know, with opiates, it's like, yeah, they're not gonna die. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
they're gonna feel like they're gonna die, but
I feel like I'm going to die on the rower sober as hell.
I was going to say that.
Right? Anyway.
I'm a year off heroin. I did 1,000 meters the other day as fast as I could, and I was going to die
That's
afterwards,
such a
dude.
death
Ooh, straight?
throw, man.
Yeah, it's rough,
Without a
man.
pause?
Yeah, 1,000
Oh.
meters, dude. It's
Dude,
not
no,
fun.
thank you.
yeah.
Dustin's easing me in 100 at a time.
Well, the thing that going back to these kids, I've been working with some kids lately, and I kind of just by watching Rob, I've kind of developed an interest in working with some kids, and I just it's the same thing. I want to teach them, is if it's like these kids, we can teach them like these healthy coping skills early. Like this kid I'm working with now, I was just like, so you go off to college and you hit a wall, you know, maybe you go off to college and you have, I mean, you end up going on a bender, you know. I mean, this isn't something I was really, but I'm kind of talking to him this way, like, how are you going to compete with it? Because think about a kid. Like, chances are, if they're a front end kid smoking and drinking and a little bit, and they're front end, and they go off to college, I mean,
You're not going to get them to
chances are
stop.
they're probably going to go to college and drink
Of course,
and
yeah.
party. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And so, like, what if, you know, like these kids, we can give them these coping skills and teach them how to, like for me, it's teaching them how to get into a barbell and how to get into health and training. And so they go off to college and they make that a priority to where now they've caught that new reward and they're into health. So now they've got a better shot at making that a priority as opposed to, you know,
Right.
getting into that scene. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's tough, man. These kids got a
Especially
lot
if you
coming
get
up.
them into it and they see like the changes and like they're setting goals and achieving them. Even with a kid that age, you're going to get them on like the body composition stuff. You know, they're looking good. are feeling good going off to college, they're going to be, more inclined to stay with that than to, fall off the deep end.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it seems like less kids are competing, playing sports. They'll try it and quit, quit, and then they like to play video games.
Yeah.
It's like soccer clubs are dying, basketball teams are down, football teams are down. The numbers coming out are just down.
And at the same time,
so sad.
the rates of depression and anxiety, mental illness among kids is skyrocketing. It's like, you think there's a correlation? Obviously.
And that's what I think, because the 90s kids, we grew up with a lot of different stuff, and some got bullied and some had depression and some got on drugs. And so it's like, it seems like the generations overcompensate for what they did. They go the complete opposite of what their parents did. So they were hard on us, and we had to be tough, walk uphill both ways in a foot of snow type of deal.
Right.
Our dad used to whoop us with a belt, and now the kids are so soft, so they're not learning. Like, life's gonna smack the shit out of them.
Dude, it's so true.
Right.
Do you want them to, like, you're gonna be like, oh no, it's gonna be okay. Okay, have fun at college, and then the kid gets beat up the very first day in the dorm.
Dude, it's so true. What do they say? They say hard times create hard men create good times create weak men create hard times, and it basically just goes around, right?
Yeah,
it's true.
I like that.
No, it makes sense.
But it's the cycle. Yeah, it's so cyclical, and it's I think that's what our challenge is, right? Is people trying to help others get sober. What better way than to educate them young? I can't think of any better way, because I was just thinking of Frank's example of an 8-year-old going to a skate park, and they're asking for marijuana. They obviously know about it. So who do you want your 8-year-old learning about it from? You or that other 8-year-old that's at the skate park asking about it?
Exactly.
It's funny, they all had iPhones too, and at the time I had a flip phone, and they were like making fun of me because of it, and I was like, I didn't even have a phone until I was like 15.
You're like, you guys can
Nice
find it on
razor,
your
bro.
phones.
Yeah.
Download the Weed app.
My mom had me, like, I got a pager in middle school because I wasn't allowed to have a phone yet, and these kids all have the iPhones and stuff.
Yeah.
Asking for weed.
It's just different, man. I'm hard on my little boy because with the video games, and I can't tell if I'm being too hard on him, if that's just the way it is. How they hang out now is they play Fortnite.
Right.
And all their friends get on. So my little boy's hanging out with his friends, and they're all
He's at home.
They're all at their house. That's how they kick it.
Yeah.
And so
Which is sick.
Which is weird. I mean, to me, I'm like, and he's, it's been hard because I'm hard on him about it, but he wants to go on there and have fun with his friends. So I don't know I don't quite know the balance with it. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard. I've thought about that before. Like if I have kids, how you really do that, because you want to restrict screen time, but they're gonna hate you. Like, well, my friend's allowed to do this. My friend's dad lets me do this. And it's like, well, shit, you're not but you can't just completely cut them off. It's a hard balance. It's like a hard line to walk.
It definitely is.
We talked about that when we were on our hike, about so many parents, they start having kids and then they stop doing what they love because they have kids. It's like, no, there's
That's
hiking
so dangerous.
backpacks. We go. So one thing, we moved from a duplex in Woods Cross. There was 2-bedroom. There's 4 of us in the house. We had to live in the living room, to move to a farm because I got sick of seeing my kids through their phones, and I told my little girls, go outside and play, and they're like, there's nothing to do out there. And I snapped. So now, rather than getting mad at them, offer up something else: hiking, rock climbing, go jog, go lift with dad. I think it's with recovery as well.
Educate.
If you don't create a better life than the one you had before, you're always going to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Heroin's gonna sound pretty awesome if you're just staying sober, or if you're just telling your kid, don't play video games. Okay, well, what should I do? Because they're still at that age and in the society right now where their imagination is shit. They don't have it anymore. Right. We used to go build BMX jumps out of sketchy plywood and a 2x4 on a cinder block.
We were jumping each other, laying on the asphalt and jumping each other with bikes and skateboards.
They don't have that stuff. So we got to recreate that in war summer camps for kids to come out and flip some tires, get some little 4-wheeler tires that they get to flip them like dad does with the big one, throwing little baby sledgehammers, whatever it is, to get them to be, I don't want to say men again, but get outside and enjoy
Get them active.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go do some.
I mean, doesn't it make it harder too when you're looking at these guys like Ninja, and I don't know if you know him. He's like the most stream person on Twitch, which is like the online video game streaming platform.
Oh, yeah.
Multi-millions of dollars a year. He's just a Fortnite player. So he just basically plays Fortnite and streams other games and literally making millions of dollars and influencing probably your kids and every other kid, you know, because they can find him on YouTube or these other things. And so they're actually becoming careers now, which is kind of scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, you know, and it's almost like anything, you know, you get to, it's why I think it's so important to get kids involved in as many athletics as possible. Find the things that they hold on to. Because if someone's just focused on basketball or something, you think you're going to be one of 300 of the best people in the entire world to make it to the NBA? You know, maybe not. Maybe get some music in you too. Maybe get some, you know, some other type of sport. Maybe just become well-rounded so you could find what your passion is. But for kids that are literally holding out to become professional video game players, and they kind of make a good argument if they're like, hey, look. But I have people that follow, which is kind of creepy if you have people following your kids playing their video game. But you know what I mean? But it happens if you let them get that. But it's just hard when it's something they can actually create a career out of.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's cool to go out and get them, like you were saying, Rob, get them experience and try rock climbing, try snowboarding, you know, try any of this stuff. Because that was so cool for me when I was a kid. I loved watching skateboard videos and snowboard videos. And we were like, oh, I want to go do that, you know. And it wasn't even, sure, we had dreams of like being professional. But it's like, even if that's not occurring for me, you know, or any of my friends, we're still out there doing that stuff, you know. We're out there skateboarding, snowboarding, like doing whatever. So just getting them involved in as many activities and things as possible is so cool.
Well, it's crazy because in this day and age, there's like, so you have stuff like the programs you offer. You have like the pre-C speed schools. You have all these different things for kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like programs that like CrossFit gyms, CrossFit Kids, that speed camps, like all these different things that cost money, you know, that because that's what you have to do with these kids now. It's like when I was a kid, we went and I watched The Sandlot, you know, and went and got stoked on that one and went over there with the red wagon with all my baseball shit.
Yeah, good point.
And played outside with my friends. Now you have to like sign your kid up for something to get them to do it. You think that's right or am I off?
No, I think it is, but I think it's because if it's not organized, nobody's going to do it because they're socially awkward because they're friends through the TV on a little joystick and a headphone. They don't know each other.
They'd prefer that, yeah.
Like you see kids at school, like I have some wrestlers, they all play Fortnite together at their houses. You get them together and around a table and they're just like,
yeah.
They don't have their phones.
What's up, Chatty Cathy? You know, you don't got nothing to say.
Yeah.
It's like
really?
That's why I say it doesn't matter if your kid's a 4.0 student if they can't go interview for the job they want.
Well, you're so right.
If I ask you a tough question and you start crying, like, come on.
Yeah.
They're just not, we're turning out they're like in schools for me, I have a really hard time with how much they're putting effort into testing and getting rid of sports because they need to be prepared for college. Like, guess what? Most people are not going to graduate college. They're not going to be plastic surgeons. They're not going to be like, what happened to welding? What happened? I got welding buddies that make way more money than most of us.
No, absolutely.
I mean,
plumbers,
make more than
electricians.
a lot of attorneys.
Trade is like, you know, that kind of stuff is where it's at, you know.
Yeah.
But
So I think we're missing out on that whole.
It's true though. If you look at the applicant pool for all those schools like Harvard or UCLA, you know, whatever, they have so many kids that have the perfect 4.2 GPA and perfect scores, you know. Like you need to be well-rounded.
Right.
And, you know, get into other activities.
That's what's going to differentiate you.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about that.
What do you think's going on? What do you guys think's going on with like pot in these kids? Like,
Well, look, I was just going to read this stat, Dustin, that you say that. It says 6.5%. This is 11 stats. I won't read them all, but about teens and drugs. 6.5% of high school seniors smoke pot daily, up from 5% 5 years ago. Meanwhile, less than 20% of 12th graders think occasional use is harmful, while less than 40% see regular use is harmful. So less than 40% see regular use as harmful. But listen to this. About 50% of high school seniors don't think it's harmful to try crack or cocaine once or twice. And 40% believe it's not harmful to use heroin once or twice. That shows me there's not much education on addiction.
That's crazy.
Like almost half. And that's crazy.
That sounds stupid to us. We're like, what?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about when I'm in there and I'm asking these questions. They are absolutely clueless.
Yeah.
It's like back in our day, if you knew of a guy shooting up, he was a freaking dirtbag. Now
Completely.
everybody shoots up.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, what? You haven't shot up? You're stupid.
Yeah.
Sit over there.
Yeah, you're not slamming yet?
Cool kid,
What's wrong
yeah.
with you?
That's crazy.
That's crazy, bro.
I remember when I was a senior,
yeah.
like
That
my
is
friend,
crazy.
my friend Johnny and I, we had this joke because we did drugs and stuff. We smoked weed, we drank, dabbled in coke or whatever. But we had this joke where it's like it's okay to do meth, but only once. And it was a joke because like it was not okay to do meth. We were never gonna try meth, you know.
Right.
And then a couple years later, walking down, you know, it's like I tried meth. I got into heroin. I did it daily, you know. But when I was an 18-year-old senior, like I had a joke with my best friend, like it's okay to do meth, but only once, because it was ridiculous. Like it's not okay to do meth, you know.
Wow.
And then I just like kept putting that line in the sand further and further until you know I'm shooting meth every day.
See, and that's where I think, Rob, your message is so important, because with what Frank just said, it's right. It's like, okay, there's not necessarily a problem with doing it. It's not necessarily harmful at doing it once or twice. Now, if we're talking physically harmful, right? But it is pretty damn dangerous to find your solution to find what will now become your solution for all of life's woes.
Yeah.
That's what's scary, you know? And so that's if you're teaching them that and you're linking it to that, you're saying, hey, here's the issue is I was bullied, I was all this, and then I found my solution, and then I needed more and more and more of it. Then it might help that statistic become quite a bit lower, where they're like, oh no, trying it once could hurt you, because you could actually realize that this could be your new way of life pretty quickly.
Yeah.
these-
So
Everyone thinks it's not going to happen to them.
exactly.
Right.
So good example of that, of the uneducated part, was when I was growing up, my parents talked to me about not smoking and drinking. So I didn't do any of that. The very first thing I ever did was acid.
Yeah.
Piece of paper, didn't know anything about it. Oh man. I don't recommend that to any 15.
Wake
Yeah,
up
not
call.
for a first drug.
So I
for
take
sure.
that and I'm just like freaking out, going like, well, I promised my mom I wouldn't
didn't
smoke
smoke.
anything or
I
drink
didn't
anything.
drink.
And just like, what in the heck? Like, perfect example
Right.
of
Yeah.
nice heads up, mom.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
say anything about a little square paper.
Yeah.
Should about killed me. I
Yeah.
don't know if I recovered from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, you might not have. Who knows?
So, but if that's like a fentanyl pill or something for some little kid, like, oh, it's just a pill, I'm not smoking or drinking. Later.
Lights out.
Scary.
Lights out.
It's freaky.
Well, and even if it's not, just if it catches on and it becomes your new passion, then you're fucked. You know, it's like one of my former business partners who this is when I was sober for the 7 years prior to relapse, and he became such a good friend of mine. I wish I'd opened up with him and shared with him the fact that I was dealing with addiction, because he would have caught me falling off the deep end. But he just didn't understand drug addiction because he never tried one. He's like, why would I try a drug? He goes, the best case scenario is the worst case. The best case scenario is that I'm going to love it, right? But that's the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst case scenario, is that I could love it. Right. So, but some people, I didn't get that. I always just wanted to love something.
I just always wanted to be happier.
Exactly.
And so when I found out that I had a few, pills in my pocket, and then I could take them, and then in 30 minutes I could be a little more chatty and be in a better mood and warmer and feel more confident around certain people. That's and that's,
It was
that's-
just a security, huh? It was like, oh, I got these.
yeah,
I'm
they
good.
could change me. I thought that was fun, and I mean, and that's what I want to teach my kids, man, is because once a person starts linking it up to like,
Who they are.
Well, we talked about like the hobbies and stuff that I'm trying to get back into, but once, like I linked it up to everything. Fishing's funner, skiing's funner, going to that movie's funner. The comedy, I laughed harder,
Yeah.
Everything
or
is.
whatever. And once you link it up like that, man, it's game over. When your brain links it up like that, I don't like to do anything, unless I'm taking pills.
Yeah, I had that same thing thinking about. I played a soccer game. I took a couple Percocet and I had got a hat trick. So was it because I was a good soccer player or was it the pills? It was the pills. I
Yeah.
need more for next game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Corey Margusich just sent that. He said, you're talking to my brother. We go way back.
This is Corey?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, bro. I don't know what about, and that's what I'm gonna
There's too many.
hammering with my kids. Like, man, you need to experience. It's, everything's such spiritual work. Once I take something, if I'm up skiing, once I take something, it diminishes that spiritual work.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, now I'm tainted. And then it's hard to get that spiritual work back to where I'm in, like being able to feel the spirit of, you know, fishing or skiing or whatever sober. And that's what I'm trying to work on, especially in this next year. It's one of my goals is to be able to appropriately enjoy that spiritual work. Like, like the stuff we talked about.
The closer you get to heaven, that'll help. Like
Yeah.
13,500 feet.
Yeah, that's a good
little,
point.
little skydiving. Yeah, I got
Dustin's committed, guys. Dustin's committed. When we hit 1,000 followers on Instagram,
You have
he's going to skydiving.
Bro, we're putting this out like
You
that.
have, you have exactly a 60-second prayer
Yeah,
before
man.
impact.
Dude. I'll do it. But I mean,
Hell yeah, we're right around the corner.
Yeah, we're gonna be in California in just a couple weeks. 3 of us haven't gone yet. Maybe we can do it, Dustin.
yeah,
I don't know.
We'll
see.
see.
We'll see.
Is that fear cropping up?
But we were just in fact. Rob was telling us some good skydiving stories. How are those in terms of a natural high?
Like when you're done, when you're just walking around, like just
For me, like when I did the tandem, when I didn't have to worry about it, and I was literally just like hanging out of the plane, waiting for the guy to get up to where he could jump, and like I was so scared looking down, thinking of all the stuff that could go wrong. But when you're on your own, I've talked to Dustin about this too. It's like, how do you train your mind for a really tough day at work? Jump out of a plane and you got to figure stuff out really quick, and you get to land it, and that's big boy status. And when you get to the ground, you're like, I got this.
Yeah.
So the next time you go to work, they're late on something, they need you to do it. It's going fast pace. It's like my mind it slows everything down, and I'm functioning, checking my altimeter, making sure I'm tracking well, look around, make sure nobody's up, wave it off, pull.
Yeah, it gives you a good analogy.
And it's like that smooth.
Yeah.
So on my 7th jump, I did 5 front flips out of the plane,
Oh man.
barrel rolled 3 times, spun around, zipped across the sky like Superman, and then pulled my chute. And it was magical.
wow.
And day
cool.
1, I was
That's
terrified.
something
And
else.
day 7, I was focused like a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
But
Jeez.
if you stop at 1, then you're screwed. It's like you power clean one day. Yeah, I know how to do that. And you never do it again.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like you push a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
So how did you get there?
Pressure. Putting pressure on it.
Right.
Yeah, I like that, and I'm gonna have to try it. I
Pressure
mean,
in all things.
you know, you guys kind of talked, or your wife kind of talked me into it. No one else. Her story, I was like, man, she was scared. I think I could do it.
Dude, it reminds me of some of the concepts you were pitching from the David Goggins book, even, you know?
Oh, yeah, that dude.
Callous
I like
in your
that dude. I
mind.
was telling
It's-
Rob about him.
Just keep putting
Oh yeah,
yourself
Goggins is amazing. Yeah, his Rogan podcast. Yeah, the Navy SEAL guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, you know?
Yeah.
How do you grow without that?
Skydiving
That guy's
is number
intense.
2 on fear factor. There's still, 3. There's still nothing like either stepping into the cage for a fight,
Right.
or boxing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Those
For
two.
at least for me, or I think for men in general,
Yeah.
the opportunity to be beat up for 1, and then 2, people watching,
Right. Yeah.
it tests
totally.
every bit of who you are, and then coming through that and finding all the other underlying things that are just amazing about it and amazing about martial arts,
Yeah.
and truly testing you as a human being. I still have yet to find. I've run 13 ultra marathons. I've done all these different things, and the way I feel, the way my mind works when I'm about to get in a fight, the insecurities
Oh yeah,
just
absolutely.
skyrocket.
Wow.
And then when you do all the work leading up to the fight, you're preparing yourself. But in that moment, the adrenaline dumps, the self-doubt,
sure.
Right.
it's like walking up to do a motivational speech in front of the educated people. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm stupid. They don't give a shit what I have to say.
Yeah.
I'm worthless. I don't even know why I'm here. I
Yeah.
should run. And then you do it, and you're like, I just killed that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, I was sharing the other day, is the only person talking shit about me was me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And until
that's
you
a
can get
good
past
point.
that,
Yeah, everyone else is worried about themselves. You know what I mean? Especially when you're going to do it as an adult. You know, people aren't in there to make fun of you. People are in there to work on themselves.
Yeah, nobody. That's the other like thing, thinking error I've had to fix with myself, and is like I'm like, you know, worried about what people think, and then I'll be like, but in reality, nobody's. Why is anybody thinking about me? That's a selfish thought.
Because everyone is thinking the same thing, you know.
Yeah,
so
why
they're
are
thinking
you
about themselves?
Like that he ain't thinking about me, you know, like. It's really just selfish. You know what I'm saying?
For
like,
sure.
I found that out this last year working with a bunch of therapists, and I would always be like, man, because I have a lot of insecurities, you know, like when I don't like it when I don't think people like me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right.
And yeah, but this therapist is like, that's just, you know, you're being selfish. No one's thinking about you.
Yeah.
Why are they thinking about you?
That's what my dad used to say. You're not that cool.
Yeah, you're not that special.
Yeah, like, so that I've gotten better with that thought, but yeah, just tough. But yeah, man, I've always loved the work you're doing. I've gotten a lot from you. Become a good friend. I like hanging out with you and listen to what you got to say, and appreciate you coming out. Glad to have dinner before, and
yeah, that was great.
And your message is huge, man. I mean, it's just seeing those stats. I just pulled those up just out of the blue. I had no clue that literally half the people out there are thinking crack, cocaine, and heroin are cool to try once or twice. That's terrifying me. So if you can be out there just changing that number 0.1%,
Yeah.
whatever it is, that's thousands of lives, man. So
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing because it's needed. That's
yeah,
for sure.
I like what you're doing with those kids, man. I'm gonna start working with kids like that and more. You know, I like working with kids.
Yeah, we got a couple in there, but expanding it, it's cool.
I need to have you come in during one of
Yeah.
mine and just kind of be a fly on the wall and see how it
Yeah.
operates. You can do the same thing. It
Yeah.
needs to be done.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
There's a lot of people that the one thing I think we talked about this last time, but I find in recovery is everybody wants to help until it comes like into their area a little bit.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
man, we need to set up a shop on every corner of
Absolutely.
lifting and helping kids. And like, I want to put myself out of business. That should be our jobs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like that.
And
Share
there's
the
still
word enough.
so long to do that because the need
Yeah.
is so big that, you know, I mean, the beds aren't, you know, if we put every addict in every single available treatment center right now, there would still be so many addicts on the street.
Yeah.
If every treatment center was full, if there doubled the amount of beds, there still would be so many addicts on the street, or double the amount of outpatient centers. So it's needed.
Yep.
It's absolutely, I like that. It's a good thing to put yourself out of business for.
Yeah. And I like the prevention piece.
Yeah,
I love addicts. I love adults. They know right from wrong now. You know, it
Right.
sucks. Their life is the way it is. But if we can change some kids' minds, help them
Yeah.
out a little bit and prevent them in the first place,
Absolutely.
that's kind of where the focus has gone. So
well, thanks for coming on. What do you want to leave with our listeners? What do you like? We do like a little, I don't know, something you want them to do, something that could help
Like a
them.
challenge.
challenge or something to try
So,
that's helped you.
yeah, always. This is what I try and live by. Do something that scares you once a day, and do something that terrifies you once a month.
Wow,
Oh, I like that.
like that skydiving.
Yeah, and you'll find that you're pretty capable of handling anything.
On that note, that's why I love the gym, because you can get that in the gym about every day. You walk in there, dude, and you're getting ready to do 5 rounds of something. Like, you're pretty nervous because you know it's going to hurt.
That's what I was touching on earlier. Dude, I feel like that almost every time. You know, you're putting me through an AMRAP or something. Frank, do 5 rounds of this. After I do 2, I'm like already thinking to myself, I'm just going to do 3. Or I'll just do 4.
Yeah,
I'll just do 4. Just to try to, like, you know, get myself over it in my mind. And then I do 4, and then it's like, oh, it's just 1 more, dude.
Just
I'm going to do all
one more.
5.
Yeah.
And you feel so much better, dude. And it's
That's
just,
why that
it
gym,
translates
man.
to life, like you were saying, you know, just overcoming things, doing something that you're a little bit scared of, you know?
And something that terrifies you.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Well, the terrifies I like. I need to think of that. I want to try that.
Skydiving.
Yeah.
A
You
thousand
know what?
likes.
You want to know what terrifies me? This is interesting. Back in a trailer.
Backing up a trailer?
Just back in a trailer. Like, I got to go to the dump tomorrow.
Oh, dude,
And
you gotta
I'm
learn
backing
that.
up the trailer. I don't know how to do it. The dudes at the
Jack,
dump,
learn
are,
it, dude.
the dudes at the dump are talking shit while I'm backing it. You know what I'm saying?
With a
You
handful
just
of
gotta
cake.
wind it till you line. You just gotta wind it till you line it up, and then it'll curve
no,
with
bro,
you, man.
I'm so upset. I'm afraid of that.
It's
you
so
know?
funny.
Yeah, exactly. It's about steering with the palm.
Dude, my coworkers used to give me so much crap because when I was doing demolition last year, I'd have the trailer, I'd be backing it into
Jackknife it.
Yeah, no, I'd be backing it into parking garages, and I was all right with it, but like to get it into one slot, and then my friends would just be like, "Oh no, dude!" I'm like, "Dude, it'll just take me like 2 more times.
Yeah.
Just drive forward, then reverse
That's
one more
what
time."
I'm saying, bro. That insecure. I
funny,
have
dude.
just a major insecurity in backing a trailer.
That's
You
awesome.
think people
man.
are watching you?
Just
probably.
my dad and everybody. I'm not like a man.
Yeah,
you
every
know?
man knows how to back a trailer.
Like I don't know. Like it's the same thing with like using a grill. You know,
Yeah,
like
right.
like a Traeger grill. We just got a new Traeger grill, and I
Yeah.
don't really care to know how. You know,
Yeah.
I don't feel like a man.
Like,
you know what I
honey,
mean?
get on that.
She does. She runs it. I don't use a grill. You know, but I mean, I got to learn. I guess.
No, I love it.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
that's funny, man.
I have a lot of stuff like that too, especially with like working with my truck. Like I can change my own oil and change a tire, but it's like you asked me to get in there the engine or something, or like
Yeah.
you know, check
bro.
out this.
That's scary.
Like I have no idea, and it's like God, like does that make me less of a man? Like I need to take my truck to a freaking mechanic, dude. Like I don't know how to
I
like.
need to become an expert like by next week.
I don't know
on
how to
YouTube
fix my
videos.
freaking radiator, dude. Like I have no idea
Well,
what's
it's just
going on
everything. Like being a homeowner, dude. Like we just got into a new house, and it's from my dad and my father-in-law. Like I don't feel like I'm as cool as them when it comes to like fixing shit. You know what I mean? Like can't hang that closet door. Will you come over and do it?
there. Dude, we all need help,
Ask
man.
them. Ask them
That's
to,
where the attic manipulation comes
Yeah,
in. We get
right.
good
Yeah,
at getting other
that's
people to do
it.
our
dude,
shit.
ask them to come do 10 AMRAPs, dude. I bet they'll quickly call you the man.
Well,
pretty
no. This
fast.
is what I said the other day about the grill because they're like, why aren't you, why don't you do it? And I was like, I don't know, man. I might be too busy writing books and changing lives.
Yeah, dude. I love it.
Yeah, dude. Get off my ass.
Amen,
You
man.
know?
That's right.
All right, man. I love you. Thanks for
Love you
coming
too.
on.
Appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah,
It's
thanks
cool.
for coming on, man.
Yeah.
Comment below on whatever scares or terrifies you, what you guys are going to do
And-
on the challenge. His Instagram is
Coach
Coach East-
Eastman 8 and Rob Eastman and Eastman Fitness and Wellness on Facebook.
check him
We're
out.
doing good things.
Yeah,
Check him
doing
out.
big
That's been
things.
season 2, episode 5. Frank, social media handles.
Yeah, so it's at War Addiction for the Instagram, and then Workout Addiction Recovery on YouTube and Facebook. And yeah, if you like it, make sure you hit subscribe. You'll get notifications every time I got a new podcast or video out. Trying to do good stuff and help people, man.
Yeah, we appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Likewise,
Maybe we
too.
can have you guys come out and do a podcast during our next fundraiser for our nonprofit.
That'd be amazing.
Let's
It'd be
do
cool,
it.
man.
The one in the
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah,
That was
We'd
awesome.
love to do that.
yeah, be cool.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah, we will. All right, man. Good stuff.
Thanks
Thanks for
again,
listening,
brother.
guys.
Thank you.
Signing out.
Signing out.